this time. There it is.
I'm Brent Leary.
Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Playaz, and we are still in Vegas at Keynote World.
That's right. We have keynote Q&As, keynote parties, keynotes.
It's it's AI where we're having a little bit of fun because there's just several keynotes here. We did 2 watch parties yesterday, but there were still like at least 2 or 3 other keynotes that took place. And there was one this morning before this one, then there's this one, and then there's like maybe 1 or 2 others after that. I'm losing count of all the keynotes.
I know. We're covering this one, which is Steve Miranda and AI apps. It's Oracle apps and AI. And then we're going to hopefully cover, well, I'm not clear on how they're doing it exactly, but hopefully cover, if it's being streamed, Jeff Wartgow's keynote for Oracle CX.
Right.
At 4:15 p.m. PT?
It's somewhere around there, 4:15, somewhere.
Yeah, Pacific time.
Yeah. So why don't we? Well, we're waiting for our watch party group to join us. That would be Brohammer and the Cowboy, aka Jon Reed and Brian Sommer, who should be in a better mood today since the venerable Paul Greenberg bought him a nice Dr. Pepper, so it made him stay there.
It was a nice big one. It's literally I can identify. We were at this Q&A for the kind of the platform, really, and you could tell where Brian was sitting because it was even though we can only see the back of his head, because there was a can of Dr. Pepper right next to him.
Right.
And right at the point it ended, he ran out. So I went up and gave him his new bottle, and I know he is whole again.
Got a little freeze up action there. We lost you for a couple seconds.
You froze up on my end too.
And speaking of the Cowboy,
there he is,
Mr. Sommer.
Whoop! Now he froze up. Now you're okay now. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of intermittent freezes here.
Good old hotel Wi-Fi at its best.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I actually did a speed test thing of it yesterday.
Yeah, it's not the greatest.
They say it broke 10, but that was about it.
So are you enjoying a nice wig of a Dr. Pepper there, Mr. Sommer?
Yeah, I actually broke into the one you guys got me for breakfast this morning.
Breakfast of champions.
That's right.
I had that, and I had a 6-pack of Entenmann's chocolate donuts.
They sell Entenmann's here?
At the Walgreens down the street.
Entenmann's? Holy cow.
Yeah. I had that. It was either that or Tasty Cake, and I figured I'd go.
Wow, almighty.
I haven't had that since I was like a kid.
And there's no comparison either.
See, that's the difference between you and me, Brent. I'm always a child at heart. I'm going to be, it doesn't matter what my chronological age is. I'm going to be that youngest analyst at any event, I'm going to be the one pushing the envelope like you wouldn't believe.
Have you had any Twinkies lately? Because that would be like the trifecta for me.
Ooh. No, that's not, I don't know why. I'm just not that's not my thing.
Kind of guy.
Did they have other Entenmann? I'm interested in Entenmann's. Did they have any other Entenmann stuff there besides the donuts?
Yeah, when you come in the front door, they have a freestanding giant pillar of product there. So,
wow.
I don't know if they have exactly what you're looking for, but they've got.
When we were kids, it was the pound cake. It was the raisin pound cake. It was the cinnamon. I forget what they call it, the cinnamon streusel kind of thing. And there was so many Entenmann's, but Entenmann's was like, it was the best of the commercial staple baked goods.
I'd agree. It's very well made. When I grew up, though, the thing we used to get as kids, we killed for was this thing called the banana flip. And it was a sponge cake about a 1/2 inch thick, cut in the shape of a football. Okay. Okay. And then you fold about a third of it over and you pump in that folded space a whipped banana flavored white sugary cream. Now,
Wow.
some at one point, one of the schools they just said you kids cannot bring those to school because the sugar rush that those kids would have coming out of lunch or recess was so great they were just unmanageable. But that was absolutely great to get one of those.
I know. We were the same on the Entenmann side because moms and especially Jewish moms and dads would go to the store and bring home Entenmann's for the kids and themselves because they really liked it too, and it was easily available. It was a huge success. I think weren't we at a conference where the company that owned Entenmann's was on the stage?
Yeah, but
We were
it had a different kind of name.
Yeah, it was a big Brazilian company or something.
Yeah, Limpo or
Bimbo.
Yeah, it was what was it?
Bimbo.
Yeah,
Bimbo. That was it. They owned Entenmann's, right? Which is a little strange, but they also had some other brands that were like amazing and just wanted I wanted to put money into Bimbo stock, right? Right, just because they owned all these things that I used to eat.
Well,
boy, that speaks volumes about you, Paul. But anyway,
so since we have a few minutes before they get started, hopefully it'll start on time. Any additional thoughts about what you saw yesterday and what you want to see during Steve Miranda's keynote?
Brian?
I think what we're going to see is our 3 levels of AI capabilities popping up in the applications. That's probably what most of the discussion is going to be about. There are going to be some AI capabilities that just make an app incrementally more efficient or the user a little bit more productive. Then we're going to see another group that they're going to create maybe a agent, what have you, or an algorithm that's going to take that a much bigger step forward. The agent may be adding additional functionality and connecting to something external, and I would guess we'll hear an announcement about some kind of connection to some outside kind of solution. And then the third level would be where they've radically rethought a big problem area that companies face, and they're going to show what they can do there. So I'm expecting a building crescendo of innovation, and customers are going to be sitting there in their chairs with the seatbelt on and the tray table up, wondering, how much of this can we ingest in our firm in the short term? That's my guess.
I have to say, crescendo of innovation is a keeper. I like that one.
Okay.
Well, let's make that the quote of the day then.
Right.
For all the listeners, tweet that out relentlessly. The crescendo of innovation. I got to write that down.
Well, while he's writing that down, Mr. Greenberg, what do you want to see today?
I like what Brian said, but I didn't really have that much expectation on this because, when I'm thinking, I saw, for example,
we of you.
Right. Well, that's fair. I'm retired, dude. So whatever, I don't really care. Right. So I saw what Salesforce offered. And the problem was I saw it right after what Larry was talking about. So it really looked kind of diminished next to what Larry was speaking of. And that's not really fair to Salesforce because that was apps, what I was seeing. Right. Yeah. And I'm expecting more in line with those kind of innovations that I saw the Salesforce offering, what we're going to hear today. I will hope that we hit to Brian's third level and that we see something that would radically redefine things. I mean, they already did that. I know, Brian, I forget the name of that company, Biofy, the ones who were doing. Yeah, Biofy was a radical rethinking. And I doubt it'll be at anything as have the level of impact that Biofy is going to have with theirs, but something, let's say, in relative sense, will have that kind of impact, or that kind of make that kind of change would be really nice to see. Although my imagination doesn't extend as far as to imagine what it would actually be.
Yeah, I'm guessing it'll be like each of the kind of applications will show off something specific and unique about their use of AI within the applications. But then I'm expecting some kind of overarching use case that has agents that will cross the application boundaries. And like Brian said, maybe the additional third party agent integration to show off all that in one kind of shiny, innovative crescendo.
It's a shame. It's a shame we don't have one of those like hotel. Thank you for that comment, and thank you for your leadership. Anyway, I wish I had one of those hotel check-in bells, because every time somebody, one of the presenters, whatever, talks about, well, a new little incremental change, you get one ding, and then we can go to 2, and then 3. When we hit the 3, it's going to be buzzers and confetti flying down out of the ceiling and everything else.
Hey, guess who's just joining us right now? The one and only Brohammer, Mr. Jon Reed.
Yo, what up? How are you?
Brohammer.
Perfect timing, man, because we were just each of us saying what we hope to / expect to see in Mr. Miranda's keynote. What are you looking for?
I'm going to sound like a broken record from yesterday. So sorry for the people that have been avidly watching every moment of our streams.
Which is nobody.
No, there's 4 of us. There's at least 4.
Come on. We're signing autographs afterwards. You know,
we're the 4. So who are we going to sign autographs for?
Well, Steve's job is to do 2 things, right? First, he has to cover a slew of applications news that's been released today. Specifically, there's things like the agent marketplace to involve partners and agent building and stuff like that. So he's got to cover some of that news. But I think the bigger thing is it's time to kind of fill in more of the pieces around how customers get from where they are now to where the vision that we heard yesterday from Larry came from. So it's time to fill in some practical steps. But we got to do that in a way that's entertaining, right? Because we don't want to go to a teach-in here. So let's see how he does. But I know one thing. I talked with Steve on Friday, and he can't wait to go home and heat up some popcorn and watch us go at it over his keynote. So we got to deliver for Steve today.
Well, let's just say we're starting on an interesting footing, given his refusal to come on our show, to come on CRM Playaz.
Yeah, that's not the kind of crescendo we've been looking for.
We have tried this for 3 years to get him on the show. We literally did a public plea on the show, and the footage was sent to him by Rob Pinkerton. He saw it.
A trusted source.
And yeah, Rob. We can say it was Rob Pinkerton, but and he's still no sign he has any interest at all. So
I don't know about
tell the truth, guys. Would you want to be on this show with you two? I
can't.
Well, you are on it, So
I don't know about that. But I don't know
about this.
I don't know about that, but what I do know is that unlike some executives, he's going to be sitting down afterwards and watching this.
Oh no, I'm glad. I mean, that mitigates.
Oh, he says.
So we need to bring our A+ game here.
Okay. I want to see him. He's got to leave a comment to know that he actually watched it.
And Brian, that means I'm looking for 110%. I want the volume. I want the volume to go right to 11.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Right to 11. Yep.
I wonder how many people actually understand that reference at all.
Oh,
I mean,
there's a new Spinal Tap movie coming out, so it's time to
get. You're kidding? There is?
Yeah.
I've seen the commercials for it. It's like
same.
Wow.
I think they're all there.
Same people.
The
too.
original. Wait. The entire original cast.
As far as I know,
they're like 35 years older.
Dude, they got their shot, man. This is
way to go.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, it was a great movie. I love it.
So I'm gonna pop up the screen and let you all enjoy the fabulous music that's going on here.
Oh, nice.
Okay, Brian, your turn. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I'm so mesmerized by the FD statement.
That's your turn to read it.
It just captivated me there. It's transporting me to an all-new AI reality that I've yet to been able to envision in its full grandeur and glory.
So Paul and I will get a chance to speak with the person responsible for this design intro, Miss Jenny Lamb.
Can't wait.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you and I saw her last night. Charming
Well,
individual.
she's amazing. She really is. She's absolutely amazing. One of my favorite people in the industry, really. I'm in awe of designers who can do what she does.
How business gets done. Decisions are faster. Processes are smarter.
We saw
Even
her last
this.
night, by the way.
Entire
Yeah.
industries are being rewritten. But AI is only as good as the data and technology behind it. That's where Oracle comes in.
I want Sam L. Jackson doing one of these voiceovers at one point. That would be really good.
Built in the cloud with embedded AI, so your workflows become intelligent.
Or at least if we're going to use a
Intelligent
British fake voice, put in a real voice and let Simon do it. I love his voice.
Yeah, right.
From finance.
Or like Benny Hill. You imagine like
Oh, yeah.
a Benny Hill voiceover
Banking,
With the music as the lead in.
healthcare,
That'd be awesome.
utilities, manufacturing, and more. As
I'm also going to be curious as to, even though CX has its own thing later, how much play he gives to CX at all. Because usually it's been underwhelming.
Agent marketplace opens a world of trusted, ready-to-go agents built by partners, certified by
This is a rather long intro video.
touchless finance.
Yeah, well, that's the end of the
Talent
keynote
that
when this
finds
is
you.
over.
Supply chains that see around corners. Service that solves problems
Okay.
before they happen.
There's-
Tools that turn customers into advocates. Innovation designed for your specific industry, not someone else's. Oracle applications built for your business in the age of AI.
They could have probably had a better
Please
tagline
welcome to
than
the
that.
stage Oracle's Executive Vice President of Applications Development, Steve Miranda.
As we watch him at a distance one more time.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everybody. We are thrilled to be here today, and we have a packed agenda for the next hour or so, give or take. We're going to cover essentially what we have in the complete suite of applications. We'll host several of our customers so you can hear directly from
He
them.
said give or take. I'm
lessons
going to say
learned,
take.
best practices,
Yeah, I'm
but also
right
the
there with you.
challenges they deal with their business and their industries, and how they're attacking it, how our partnership is working together. And you're going to see several demos. So you've probably at this conference heard a little bit about AI. We're going to talk very little about AI, but we're going to try to show you a lot of AI, so you kind of get a sense of what's coming and what you.
All right, I kind of like that. He said we're not going to talk a lot about AI, but you're going to see a lot. I like that little turn of phrase there.
So the way we're going to break it down is we're going to talk about first everything you need, the completeness of our suite, and why that's critically important. Then we get into the new announcements with innovation that matters, some demos and demonstrations of products, and finally talk about our broader partner ecosystem and how we, Oracle, are committed to your success as a customer. So part one, everything you need. Now, I've talked about this before, but really in the age of AI, this takes a heightened importance. So what do we mean by everything you need? So first off, we have the most complete set end-to-end of applications available. Not only what's generally thought of as horizontal applications, so ERP, HCM, supply chain, CX, but also industry-specific applications. And more our customer base.
Do you guys think Microsoft can make the same claim?
To either start with an industry and move to ERP, or starting with ERP and moving to industry.
I don't think it's the same depth.
No.
No, Microsoft's more like productivity applications. This goes like much deeper into industry scenarios and stuff like that. But there's 600 agents, 200 of them are in industry solutions, for example.
Everything they talked about this morning in OCI, importantly including the large language models, is included in Fusion applications. So all of you as our customers, you've been updated to OCI, you get regular updates to the software components, you're moving to autonomous database, you get all the improvements in security and speed and reliability that OCI gives, and now very importantly, because we are the host of all the large language models in the world and the training, those are available, and those are what power the AI that we're going to show you within the applications. So it's very critical to optimize business process to have all your data in one place and then have the technology to leverage that. And again, we're going to talk about it a little bit, but especially we're going to show you. As part of that completeness, we also are extremely proud, and I'll paraphrase Safra a little bit, who used to say, our success is measured by your success, our customers. And especially in applications, this is critical because we have become industry experts in many industries through our close relationships, partnerships, and implementations of all of you. So as all of you go through the implementations, you teach us about your industry, we learn about your business challenges, we work together on developing AI solutions, and I'm going to do more of that in just a moment, to really give you a best-in-class solution and best-in-class partnerships. So that's what we mean by completeness of suite. So rather than me continuing to talk about it, it's my pleasure to welcome our first customer on stage. Let's hear a little bit about them.
For over 100 years, Milwaukee Tool has led
They
the
do
industry
make good
with
tools,
innovative
man.
solutions that redefine
Absolutely.
performance, productivity, and safety for the professional trades.
I'm not
The company
big
has
on
pioneered
tools, but the
breakthrough
ones I have
technologies
are
and
all of
services
them.
that empower tradespeople to excel on the job and return home safely each day. That same spirit of disruptive innovation has transformed how Milwaukee Tool operates. The company recently completed the rollout of Oracle Fusion Cloud applications across its US and Canadian operations, reinforcing its ability to deliver innovation at scale and meet the evolving needs of the skilled
I've got
trades.
quite a collection of tools. I've rebuilt car engines. I've repaired my dryer probably
Please welcome to the stage
6
Chief
times, and
Information Officer
at least
of
once a
Milwaukee
year I
Tool,
got to replace
Mark
parts on it.
Molitor.
And they're all Milwaukee tools.
I've got no, they're not all that, but there's quite a few in there.
I'm a big
Those are
fan of
fans
what they
Milwaukee
do.
Tool
I
or
am.
fans of Mark, but
See?
thank you for joining
Fans.
us this morning. Mark, I'm sure that a lot of the audience has used your products, seen your products been in use, contracted for people who use your products, but maybe you give a little background about Milwaukee Tool, where you've come from, and then your role.
Sure. Thanks for letting me be here. Excited to share our story with you.
I wonder if he's related to
I'm
Paul,
Mark Muller, Chief Information
since he's in
Officer at
Milwaukee.
Tool,
Actually,
responsible for our
not out of the
technology
question.
strategy and how
You
we're
know what?
digitizing
Might be.
the corporation. If you don't know our story, Milwaukee's actually over 100 years old, but we've had explosive growth over the last 2 decades. Back in 2007, we were just $1 billion company. Today, we are $10 billion with 25,000
Wow.
employees. We
That's
focus on the
really-
I am not.
professional trades,
Yeah, not. You know, honestly, I'm not
plumbers,
surprised you
electricians,
did.
mechanical
They're just
contractors.
really,
And
really
we're known
quality.
for pioneering breakthrough technologies that help
I'm always
them
surprised when I
work
come to
more
one of these
productively
events
and safely
and I hear these
on the job
companies that
site.
I've never heard of
And we
before, and they
continue to
say
push
stuff
the
like that.
boundaries
It's
as
like
we try to
amazing how many
leverage and provide
businesses are
solutions for
out
things
there
like
that are killing it like
emissions
that.
and noise.
There is no commercial
And we're now
outlet
also
that
trying
sells
to
tools
leverage
that
that
doesn't
same
carry
disruptive
them.
technology in our business operations, which is really where Oracle starts to come into play.
Wasn't that
That's
where
really an amazing
Tim the
story. So
Tool
100 year
Man
old
Taylor
company,
was
really,
based out of
a long time to go
Wisconsin?
billion, but then a fairly
Seems
short
like
time to go 10x from $1 billion to $10 billion, which is incredible growth. So maybe talk about, in that context, what are the business challenges that you face here at Milwaukee Tool, big picture, and what are you dealing with in your company?
So I'd say at Milwaukee, we are hyper-focused on growth. And we think about innovation and speed as being 2 of the key enablers to accomplishing that growth. So when you think about that, driving efficiency and scalability into our operations is one of our key challenges as we go forward. It's really important in terms of how we're going to do that. So if you think about distribution, expanding order fulfillment, expanding supply chain, those are all key areas of focus for us, where Oracle is playing a significant role. Speed is also critically important for our success. We have to be able to respond to any kind of changing business conditions. A perfect example of
Shout out to Bob Fagel.
just recently,
Hey,
we had
Bob.
an issue that bubbled up in our distribution center. And we were able to very quickly configure a new solution, a new process to address that situation, which quite
Wow,
frankly,
Bob's
we
back
wouldn't have
for
been able
more.
to
Excellent.
do prior to having Oracle in place in terms of doing that. So and the last piece of this is also innovation.
This
So we
guy
have
is
to
literally
continue to
speaking at the
innovate,
pace of
stay
speed
ahead
and
of the
efficiency.
competition,
I
but
am not
also in
kidding. It's
order
like
for scale.
his
So we're
actual
deploying new
pace,
features, new capabilities on a
what
quarterly
he's
basis.
presenting.
We've already started to extend Oracle solutions into other parts of the business. And really what's up next for us is how do we leverage some of the AI capabilities that Oracle is now delivering to us.
Right. So we'll get to AI in a moment. We were trying to set a record for how long we go without mentioning that word, but we'll get there. But let's drill down before we get to AI. You talked about, or I opened with sort of the breadth of the suite. And you talk about the need for the speed across the cycle. So you've implemented really a full suite of applications, CX, ERP, and importantly, supply chain, which is really the heart of your business. So can you maybe describe what brought you that decision to go with Oracle? What brought you the decision to go with the complete suite?
Sure. So a little bit of our story here is, so prior to going to Oracle, we implemented an ERP solution back in 2017. And we actually selected that package about 5 years before that. So you can kind of imagine how the business would have changed over that period of time. That particular solution was highly customized, wasn't vendor supported, and it really lacked a number of the capabilities that we thought that we would need for a growing organization that I just talked about. So when I first got there, we really spent the first year or two really optimizing what we had, while at the same time starting to build out the IT team and building out that go-forward strategy. And what we realized is we really needed a robust solution that could evolve with our business as we continue to grow. I would kind of say this, off to the team, we need a solution that's going to last for decades because we don't want to have to implement another ERP solution again. But we also needed it to be cloud-based. We needed to be able to deliver new features faster, and we wanted to be able to avoid the cost and the effort that was tied to, an on-premise solution. Right. So really it was those factors that kind of drove us towards Oracle. And I would say we really concluded that we felt Oracle was really the leader when it came to providing a cloud-based ERP type of solution. And then when you couple that with the massive investments that were going into cloud capabilities, we felt like it was a solution that could evolve with us as we continued to grow.
Right. So that's interesting. It's sort of an interesting lesson, maybe painful lesson to have relatively recently, 2012 to 2017 implementation of ERP, and then seeing the benefits of, let's say, a non-customized cloud-based full suite product. So in that context, how are we doing? How are we doing so far? What have been the benefits?
What do you think he's going to say?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, those are such setup
really in July
junk.
With our most significant implementation.
Drinking game.
A series of phases.
Anytime somebody says, that's a great question, let's just go ahead and raise a glass right there.
Chain, order management, financials. What we're seeing is it's helping us.
I'll tell you what, seriously, Milwaukee's manufacturing stuff is quite complex. They need extruders to make things like plastic grip handles and the like. They have drop forging for making things, a number of metal parts. They use a lot of electric motors and battery technology that go into their parts. Anyway, where I'm getting at is it's not a single kind of, it's not like a chocolate company that just makes chocolate products. They're utilizing different manufacturing processes, and they source a lot of stuff from overseas locations as well. It's not all domestic. And so they've got significant supply chain, multiple different methods of producing product, and there's a lot there going on under the covers.
Well, actually, to add to yours, they also have, I'm being a little broad here, but two markets that they are fundamentally different they address. One is someone like me who goes and buys a tool, and others are full manufacturing facilities that they're providing all the very complex, much larger tools for.
We can now roll up those costs on hundreds of thousands.
Well, let's segregate a little further. It's not just for you. There are weekend mechanics, and then there are full-time tradespeople.
There you go, too. Yeah.
And they have very different needs.
Early adopter, in particular around some of the RF technology.
That's perfect. So those of you who remember, we announced Smart Operations. I talked about it here last year, so it's great to see customers adopting. So you covered a wide variety of areas, and I think you said we've completed a journey, but what we've done is we've really gotten live. So now you're running your system, running the multiple warehouses.
By the way, this is really, I think, a smart move to emphasize the value gained by getting your SaaS platform right, because one of my contentions lately is that modern software is really pretty damn good, and you don't need to wait for agentic AI to actually teach the value from software. So I think it's an important point. And also, if you don't get the stuff that he's talking about right, then AI, the kind of AI they're talking about, really can't help you anyway.
You're
So
exactly right. Well, as he said, garbage in, garbage out. You know, so
our business as we go forward. So if you think about products first, there's really no other power tool.
You know, I mean, it goes back to something that we've all been saying over the last year. Regardless of AI, regardless of anything, fundamentals are first, right? You got to get them right, and then the rest.
Yep.
It's icing on the cake. Maybe it's even part of the cake now, but you still have to get the ingredients, put it all together, and know the recipe, and then build the cake.
Design processes so that our engineers can develop.
Yeah, I sometimes talk about it as an accelerant. It can make things better, or it can make things worse.
Yep.
You know, so it doesn't always work for the better when you sprinkle that on top of that, like you said, a problematic situation. So
through some custom built applications or solutions, as well as out of the box.
It's also why I think he started this smartly by not talking about AI for a change.
In terms of that.
Well, that's what he said up front.
Yeah, he was right too. You need to talk about the operational fundamentals here too. I mean, they matter, especially in apps.
We modernize our core operating platforms.
And now he's talking about how modernizing the core platform sets up the AI, which is what customers need to hear.
This is actually a very good starting customer. I'm not kidding. They're talking about speed and efficiency kind of being their focus, and of course, obviously, that means for them a highly successful supply chain. But he also speaks speed and efficiency.
Okay, in closing,
pacing. I don't even know. He's like he fits the customer
partnership. Can you comment on
triggers the right
pushes
the right button.
Oracle's been at our side for this entire.
So let me replay what you guys are saying. The very first thing customers have to do is get their head around integrating all of their stuff together and getting clean data first. Then they go tackle the efficiency and productivity gains, and then they can start looking at some of the like more powerful, whether it's agentic or algorithmic kind of capabilities that are running in the background and monitoring and policing everything that's going on.
And the irony of that altogether is that actually, and the last thing in the chain that you start paying attention to, on the whole, from day one of your thinking, is the technology. By the time you get to the point we're describing, you already better know what you're planning on doing with your company, right? So technology, because how many times in the world did we run across people buy technology and don't know what to do with it?
Okay, so innovation that matters. So now I have a correction to make. So last year I stood on stage and we committed that we would have 100 plus.
Oh, and I bet you have more.
Maybe 600?
600, I think. Yep.
I bet there's even more than 100. Oh my God! What a shock!
And then throw in the 100 that the partners built.
You know what was
and
nice
the countless ones that the customers built.
I would love to have had them started. I made a commitment that we'd have 100. Well, we only have 40.
Hey man, I'm running 700 just in this hotel room.
There's another 200 that are across the industry applications. And I'm going to show you in just a minute.
Hey, I do want to comment though. I defended Steve 2 years ago for how well he threw out the customers talking about their challenges in the projects.
Yeah.
Didn't hear that in the first interviews. Hopefully you'll get to that, because I think that's one of the strengths of this last keynote that I reviewed.
Well, he did ask him how we doing.
Yeah, well, the guy wouldn't be on stage if they were doing badly. Something tells me that. Oh, you're doing terrible. In fact, we've just dumped you for Salesforce, and they don't even have supply chain.
That brings up the context of the AI agent, and you set a threshold. And again, this is one example of what you can do. You can set a variety of thresholds throughout the general ledger across anything you want to label.
You know what? All these
Now,
agentic
in this
agents are
particular
starting
AI
to
agents, what it's
sound to
doing
me
is
like
behind the scenes
self-learning
monitoring
microservices.
for that variance. So it's a constantly running agent. It's not like you have to kick off a report.
I mean, it's not like
the
I've never
finance has to
seen
ask IT. And when it in
these
fact
things
finds that
before. It's
variance,
just
you
typically
should do it just a
someone
moment.
had to do them.
You go to your inbox, and there we have it. You have a
Maybe
new
the
alert
biggest
on the
development is
variance.
normal business
Because
folks
these
are now
agents
able to
are
do it.
embedded
Yeah.
inside
Supposedly.
Fusion applications.
So I did a review
It
on
knows
a
context. It
professional
knows you are the
service
finance
solution the other
user.
day.
It knows what you have
And
access to.
the
And then
real thing
importantly,
that's
when you
going
get the
on is
variance,
not just that
you
you
can
create an
drill
agent
down
that runs in the
directly
background and it tells
into
you
the
you've got an
invoices
accounts payable
that
problem.
cause that variance.
It's
There's
to,
no
in the
more
professional
moving
service
between the AP screen
example,
and the GL screen.
the
You
agent's
have the variance
constantly
surface
monitoring
directly
little
in
tiny
context
changes in
with
staffing
security. This is
needs
a
on
very important
hundreds of
distinction of
projects
agents that we deliver
simultaneously. And
versus
so
agents that are built
it can
outside of an
alert you,
application, which you
it can
have to
alert
code the
some
context, you have to
master
create it in the
scheduler,
UI,
if you will,
embed
that
it
there
in the
is
Fusion
someone
applications, and
unexpectedly took
include it in the
paid
Fusion
time off,
applications.
or
One
a
example of AI
project has
agents
now
where you can
slowed down
drill
and
down
moved
and
its
take action
end date
directly.
out further,
So
and
that's
it's
just one
recommending
very
all these new
brief
courses
example
of action.
and one very brief
It's
usage
so
of the general
big
ledger
in what
agent.
it can do in its scope,
However, as we
and
go
it's running
forward,
in the
we're making
background.
significant
That's what makes
progress
this
in
background
our
agent
customer
stuff
base.
so
And I'll start as
fascinating.
always, we adopt
It's not
agents
just
within Oracle itself.
run in the
So we've
background. Let me know
adopted
when I have an
over
alert
150
on like an
different
accounts payable deal.
AI
I think there's
features
better
at
examples that could
Oracle
have been
for our end users to
utilized.
make ourselves more efficient. There was a session yesterday where Rondi Ng spoke with our finance group talking about the ledger agent and how we're modernizing and frankly further improving an already world-class finance organization. We've done tremendous areas in HCM, including areas that really weren't in the product. So we've deployed a benefits agent where now any employee around the world, anywhere at Oracle, can ask a question. I'm on vacation in Europe. I need a new prescription. Is that covered? Do I need to have a doctor's permission for that? I'm on a leave of absence. I need to take an extra time. Do I need to renew my COBRA? Is there something I need to do? Any policy question. Now, we've done that importantly in the way all of the
So
AI
if I
agents
call this
we've
a self-learning
ingested the data from
microservice,
Oracle, so that
am I
Oracle
wrong?
policy
Am I
does
right?
it.
Am I missing
However,
nuances?
all the
What am I doing?
security,
What's
all the
wrong with
service
that?
levels that we have with you, with
Well,
your
it's
data
not.
and Fusion
This is one of my
remain in
bugaboos
place.
about AI, but it's
In other
not
words,
self-learning
Fusion does not use your
in the
data
strict sense
to
because
train the
you
AI
can't constantly
agents. So
retrain the
what Larry talked
LLM, and the
yesterday
whole point
about
of Oracle's
combining
strategy is that
internal
they don't
data,
put
like
that
the
stuff
benefits policy,
in the LLM
with
anyway.
the external
So
reasoning and
what's
powers of
being
large
constantly
language models,
updated is
that's
whatever
what we're
they're
delivering
pulling the
with the
data
large
from,
language
like
models.
it's probably a vector
With the AI
database
agents. And then
or
the
a
final
knowledge
piece,
graph, and so that
as an
information is
example,
getting
is
updated
customer
constantly.
support.
So in that
So
sense,
we've started to
yes,
deploy agents
So
both
the
in
agent
support
is essentially
deflection. So if you
taking
go
new
and log
data
an
and
SR, you now get
right.
an immediate response
reorganizing
based on
itself.
the AI
Right.
searching
So
our knowledge
the
base.
agent is being
And
provided
also to help
with
behind the scenes, our
new
support
data,
agents
and
more
you're trying to
rapidly
present
respond
it in
and
such a
answer
way
your
that the
questions.
agent takes the
We're
new
seeing
data and
improved
says, "This is
accuracy,
the data
improved
that I should
speed,
run with,"
and no surprise, we're seeing
and
better feedback from you
that's what
on
the
the
so-called
SRs by
context
deploying
engineering
AI
is all
agents
about, is
across
making sure
support.
that
So there's
not
three
only is the data
examples,
up
one
to
in
date, but it's
finance, one
taking
in
the
HR,
up-to-date
one in
data and
customer
not the data from
experience.
3 months ago, which you
But
don't want it to take.
that's just a small
So there's
sampling
all kinds of
because
ranking
across the
things that
entire
go into
customer
that in
base,
terms of making
we
sure
have
that they see the right
customers who
stuff.
are big
But
and small who are
will it
deploying
be
AI
capable of
agents
correcting
today for benefits
its
across the system.
process? It says, okay, well, this
Now, I
data
said there
says I
was an
got to
asterisk
change
on the
how I'm
600,
actually
and that is
looking
very
at it,
much an
period.
understated number.
And I have to change, instead of
Because
going this way, I got to go this
last
way.
year we talked about AI agents.
Yeah, it depends,
Then
but some agents
in
can
the
shift
winter or
gears
in the
on
spring
what
in London,
processes they're
we announced what we
executing.
call
It
Agent
depends on
Studio.
how you design it,
And Agent
because in many
Studio allows
cases
you to take
the
the
way Oracle has
pre-delivered
set it up,
agents that
I
we
wrote about
provided
this
in
today
Oracle.
actually, you
You
might
can
want to
modify
insert a
them, and I'm going
human
to show you that in
supervision
just a
step
minute.
to have the
Or
human
in fact, you
decide,
can create
like
your
if
own
they want it to
agents.
change the process or not. So it might come to the
The
human
Agent
and say,
Studio
hey,
now has
should
over
we push this
32,000
inventory to this other region or
certified
whatever?
experts
And
through
then the
OU.
human would say, yeah, let's do
Many
that.
of our partners,
So it depends on
Oracle
how
Consulting,
autonomous you want
and
that to
frankly,
be.
many of our customers have
So a
gone,
better
done the
term would be
online
actually
training. So
self-optimizing
not only are we
microservice.
having Oracle development build
I would say,
AI
in my
agents,
personal opinion.
already
No,
we have
I'm
32,000 people
trying to figure it all out
certified to
here.
build
So
AI agents.
I trust you. So
capabilities from being able to do
self-optimizing
agent teams,
microservices.
tools so you can access business
By the
objects
way,
directly, topics so you
Apple
can
just
constrain
says
the AI
that
agent
you
as far as
can
what
get
they're
the
working
new
on,
Vision Pro
the
with the
credentials allowing you to
M5 chip
modify which large
and the
language
more
model you use
comfortable
and embed it
band,
directly into the
starting at only
application, then
$34.95.
monitoring and
Oh
evaluation.
wow, $34.95.
That was what we did
Yeah,
last year
yeah.
announced agents.
You try that one.
In the
Yeah.
winter, we announced
Times
Agent
100.
Studio. And at this conference, I'm proud to announce we now have the AI Agent Marketplace.
And
And
there's
what the
Apex
marketplace is, we have over
IT.
24 partners
Is that our buddy
already signed
Jerry?
up for the marketplace.
Yeah,
No.
they're one
Each
of the
these
launch partners. They were in the
have
chat
No.
yesterday.
Jerry is
certified by
not
Oracle
Apex
Development,
IT.
at least
Right.
5 agents
He just uses
that are available
Apex.
to the
Apex
agent
IT is that
marketplace. So for you, if you're
Minnesota-based
a
company that's
customer,
been around for
we
like
now
100
have the
years. I used to
600 that I
work
talked
with
about
those guys
before,
when they were doing
plus
PeopleSoft.
Agent Studio to build as many as you'd like.
We
plus
we heard
Agent
from one of the
Marketplace,
launch partners,
which
Apex,
already
during
today,
the
we're
Right.
just launching
during the
today,
CX
has 100
analyst
plus
briefing.
Right.
AI
That was
agents
the
available
Apex
to you,
IT guy from
all
Minnesota.
included.
Right.
I
No
mean, that's what
extra
the company was
charge.
from. I don't
You
know
see
about him.
agents that you want, you copy it, you move it into Agent
I literally
Studio, and you
worked with
deploy
them in
it.
the 90s. I am
Okay,
not
but I
kidding.
said we're not going to talk about AI. We're going to show AI. So what does this Agent Studio look like? Let me try to walk you through a demo for Agent Studio.
They were partners with us on
Okay.
PeopleSoft higher
So
ed
the
stuff.
first thing you see in Agent Studio is effectively the list of all the 600 agents that we have. It's sorted by the product area and the type of agent. In addition to the 600 now, you'll see across the top the marketplace. So there's 102 that are available now from all of our partners. And again, this is the day of announcement. So we've got 100. I promised 100 last year. We've got 100 in the marketplace alone just today. You can drill down into a particular agent to see what the agent does and have a verbal description of it. Or you can modify the agent. So I want to deploy an agent. What I'm going to show you is creating a purchase order from a supplier requisition. So I want to automate that process. So let's drill down into
This
it.
is pretty
I have
cool because
capabilities
this
for agent
will
teams, which
this will
allow
show
me to
people who haven't
orchestrate a
seen it,
workflow,
like
which
how
I'll show in a
the
moment.
human
I have
supervision
different
part
agents that
can
I can
be
choose from or different
put in. I
objects.
think he's going to show that
I
here.
can have different tools at my disposal if I want to build or modify the
think.
agents, so I can review all of those at my disposal. And I can search for different pieces, including MC2
Right now, he's
protocols,
just sort of
etc.
surveying
I
the
have topics,
marketplace.
again, to constrain the
How
agents.
to
All
look.
this is pre-seeded for you. It's sort of point and click. I can go and modify the prompts if I want to adjust how the agent works in a little bit more precision, adjust the prompts. The credentials, so this allows you to do integrations if I want to integrate my agent with Google or others. And then finally, I have measurement of the agents, all of which completely available to you with our pre-seeded
Our buddy
templates.
Bob.
Hey, buddy.
But what I want to do in this case is I'm going to drill into the agent,
Just
which
sounds
again,
and
can
look
take a
cool.
requisition.
Okay.
How come you say
and
that,
it's going
Bob?
to, from that,
By the way,
requisition,
this
create a purchase
monitoring and
order.
evaluation stuff, I wrote
I
about
want
this
to see what
today
it
too.
does. So
That's
first, I
big
got to find the
because
supply chain,
they're one of the only
and I
vendors
want to
that
make
has
some
really made that
modifications.
monitoring and
And in
evaluation
particular, what we're
tools
going to show
available to
you
customers. And
is
that's
the
a
way
big
it's
deal
configured out of the
to
box,
see where agents
really
went
for
right,
purposes
where
of
they
the
went
demo,
wrong, what the
is
problems
to take
were.
the upload of an image,
You can't
create the
optimize,
purchase order,
to use your
and
word,
send an
Paul,
email
without
to
that
a human for
information. And
verification.
I've been really
Now,
frustrated about
I
how
don't
many
want to do
vendors
that
have
right now. I'm
stonewalled
new
me
to
on
AI.
that
I'm a little
topic
bit
this year.
nervous, so I
So
look at the workflow.
Oracle
What
got
I
that
really
one
want
right.
to do is I want to have a human in the middle.
Well, it's a
Oh,
real.
here-
Oh, here's
Go ahead and
here's
I'm
the
gonna
human in
create
middle
that. I
example.
simply double
This
click
is
on the
pretty cool.
workflow. I click the little plus sign, and I create a human in the middle step. And why am I going to do
That's
that?
cool.
So that in the user
Yeah.
interface, as the agent's creating the purchase order, I can have a human review it. Now, again, frankly, that's
So
more
you
for
can
the purchase order
essentially
demo, so you can actually see
insert the
something
amount of
happen.
autonomy
If I
you want
create
in
an
any
agent that
given
does it
process,
automatically,
which I think is a really
but I'm
smart
going to
way
do
to
it
set it up,
automatically.
actually.
So I'm going to
So
create
when it
human in the
reaches
middle going
whatever
forward.
step in the
And then I'm going to
process that
remove the
is,
preceded
it
step
will automatically
at the
direct
end,
it
which
to
is
either
a
a specific
workflow,
human or a
an
category
email
of humans or
confirmation.
whatever.
Okay. So
Yeah,
I've done
and as I
that.
wrote
I've
about
added a
today,
human
you can
review.
also insert a
I'm going to take
rules-based
out
step like
the email step.
anything that flags over
Importantly, again,
$1,000 in purchase
this is
requisition.
an embedded
So you can
AI
add
agent.
some level of
So I've had to
deterministic
do
work
nothing to
aspect to the
security.
workflow
I've had
as
to
well,
do
which
nothing
is
to the
That
pretty
user
works well for the
interface.
government.
Now, when I come
Yep.
back and I log into the purchase order screen,
Hi,
it
Bob
already
Stutz.
knows
Nice to see
all
you
the
on the
security
stream.
that you've set up for me in the purchasing department or me as a
Sorry
self-service
about your
person
bills there, Bob.
is known and respected. So when I go here to the agent and I invoke the agent, I don't have to worry about any of that. The
I'm going to
agent
convert
already
them to
knows that. I
giants
simply
now.
create
Now we have
purchase
some
order
hope.
requisition. I go ahead and I
What I
upload
think about when I see him
the
do this
requisition
demo
from
is
the
how much
supplier.
money was spent by
Then the agent does
corporations
the work
10, 15 years ago in response to Sarbanes-Oxley and all the documentation that was built around controls and documenting workflows, et cetera, et cetera.
It was Documentum's heyday, I'll tell you that.
Touchless through requisition, and that is one example of 600 that we've delivered, plus 100 that our partners have
There you go, John.
plus, frankly, whatever you want to build as a person. Now, to give you an idea of the speed of all of this, let's just recap. So 2 years ago, we just said we're going to have agent assistants. We added those to the product. Then we said we're going to have agents. We said 100.
They're running out of room on the chart.
600 plus. We didn't even talk about Agent Studio. We hadn't introduced
We'll
that
talk
in the
to
middle of the
Jenny
year.
about it. She'll fix
We
it.
didn't talk about Agent Marketplace. We've now introduced that, and it's taken off. And again, to give you a further idea,
No trough of
how much it's
disillusionment for
gone, we have a
Oracle.
hackathon here for customers and partners on Monday.
It's all straight
why don't we
up.
roll the video
I
to give you
know.
a little flavor of what the hackathon
Nothing
looked like.
but good. Nothing but net.
You are all here on the ground floor, really building the next generation of applications, and it really starts with agents as a foundation.
There's a lot of energy in the room. There's a lot of people learning.
I'd have to say this class has been very helpful.
They're going to need a lot of energy in the room. They need, what, 1 billion watts or something like that?
1.2. I'll just take a bottle of water.
Okay, so if you want an idea,
It's still kind of interesting that there's been no real mention of these big partnerships with like AMD and all the kind of the big talk about doing this stuff under power consumption constraints and all that.
Sorry,
I'm just surprised that hasn't been at least addressed at any of these keynotes yet.
we said we were going to deliver 100 agents at the hackathon on Monday. We had 150 participants from 66 companies, 18 industries represented, and we built 109 agents on Monday. So I promised 100 last year at the studio. And when I say we, that's being generous because it wasn't Oracle. You built 109 on Monday. So to give you an idea of the speed of innovation that is coming to all of us and the opportunity in front of us.
I mean, that's cool, but at the same time, how many of them are actually good?
Yeah, I was thinking, in addition to the speed of innovation, what about the process of certifying all these things so that they work and do what they say they do?
None of them worked, but did we built 109 of them?
We're still averaging over 100 features per
I don't know. The number stuff at a certain point becomes irrelevant.
counting AI. So it's
We
AI,
get it.
yes,
Yeah, that's really not the thing to focus in on. We ought to be talking about how they're using agents to create entire new workflows or processes, not individual agents.
Yeah.
That's the wrong metric to focus on.
Like cross-vendor integrations that allow these end-to-end use cases to actually work.
Yeah, unfortunately, right now, vendor-to-vendor agents don't work very well. So I would argue that you don't want to emphasize that all that much. But like what the Apex team was talking about yesterday was how they were getting a lot more luck building more end-to-end stuff within Oracle,
Right.
and not trying to work with a bunch of third-party agents. And I think that's the message you might want to be driving home right now, is that the breadth of your end-to-end capabilities make it possible to do that, which is something that their partner was emphasizing with us. So we haven't heard much of that today. And I think Brian's right. There's a point at which you just don't want to emphasize volume. You want to emphasize specifically how you can get things done.
Yeah. To be honest, the point's now, like in this speech, right? I mean, he talked about 600 agents, 100 agents, 109 agents on Monday. Fine, it's fast.
Renewables. Can you give the audience sort of context of the company, large scale, and your role in particular?
Sure. I'm Matt Finnegan. I'm the president and CEO of BHE Renewables. And as you saw in the video, we're an energy provider. So we've got over 5,000 megawatts of generation across 10 states in wind, solar, hydro, geothermal, gas assets. We're part of Berkshire Hathaway Energy, which is a larger collection. They own a collection of electric utilities and gas and transmission providers across the U.S. and Canada and the UK. So 13 million
And we're going to
customers
shut the
for
power grid when
Berkshire Hathaway
appropriate.
Energy. You and I met as I was in my prior role I oversaw the implementation of ERP system conversions, other large IT system conversions at Berkshire Hathaway Energy companies. I'm actually not an IT guy. I'm a mechanical engineer. Been involved in a couple of billion-dollar construction projects on the mechanical side, and you see some similarities between the two on what's the keys to success from user engagement and design. So on the mechanical side, I've got engineers and maintenance and operations staff walking down systems, getting familiar beforehand. On the IT side, I've got users involved in design and sit testing and user acceptance testing. Training on both cases is important, both before and after deployment. And then making sure after it's deployed, we make it work, and then we make it work better. So you've got enhancement projects and engineers or IT staff ready to do that.
Right. That was very interesting. You talked about, getting down to the line and training. It was in Keynote yesterday. Was talk about getting, was it the best people who know
I was
the
watching
job, people
both.
who do the job. And so, can you tell us?
Is that what retired people do? Is
what are again the big
watch keynotes from
We've talked
big industry?
Yeah, I'm
industry
watching Salesforce here.
Definitely a highlight in our industry. But how does your industry perspective and challenges for you guys?
Yeah, we ought to give
I could talk a
viewer
about
the
on challenges from
Ray Wong
AI
Award of the day for the most
agent
virtual
workforce.
attendance
Maybe I'll focus my comments on
activities
data, what I'll
concurrently.
call
Phone of the year.
perfect informational awareness.
Yeah.
So if I can have all of the right data, if Matt Finnegan or whoever has all the right data, and I pair it with the right personnel in a timely fashion, I'm going to make the best decisions for my business. And so if I think back, 20 years ago in a power plant, if I had a plant trip, if I wanted to know what actually happened, I would walk up to the control room, 5 minutes of doing that, look over the shoulder of the two control room operators and look at the trends they happen to be pulling to see what happened. And over the next 5 years, we started digitalization and you'd get historian data, and it's literally a game changer. So now I've got data in the hands of, a dozen engineers at that plant, and I can do multivariable trend analysis, and I've got valve position, and motor amps, temperature, pressures, and I can much more quickly get to the solution to get the plant back online. So when I talk about opportunities for the business, how do I cascade that across all the other areas of my business? So if I'm in supply chain, we order 25,000 transformers a year. Okay, so
wow.
A lot of utilities we have. Yeah. So rather than last year we ordered 25,000, so we're going to tell the manufacturers this year we're ordering 25,000 because last year that's what we used. Now we've gone a little deeper into the planning using data and looking at transformer health to say, here's exactly what we think we're going to order next year. Right. Puts us in a better position with those suppliers. They can better plan their work, and we get equipment cheaper, and we get it faster. So how do I do that across finance and safety and other areas to use that data?
Right. Right. Well, that's what I liked about when we talked earlier, the fact that you've sort of crystallized it down into information, the accuracy and timeless information for so many things, business decisions, safety of the employees, forecasting. I mean, one thing, let's get the information right. So with that as the context, maybe it's a little bit self-explanatory, but you also have run a very complete suite, including HCM, ERP, field service, and others. How's that going? What has the completeness suite meant to your business and that mission for that timeliness of information?
It'd be a good demo is if he would go from here and integrate IoT technology and digital twin technology and explain how he's using agents to kind of mix in and play with all of that stuff.
We did other work as well. So
that's the kind of thing
the ones that we did
at Salesforce, Charlie Isaacs
are more
would do.
mature than we are now, but with some of the more recent ones, but going well. I've gone from having SAP and PeopleSoft and EBS into one system. So there's natural benefits from that. Then having the benefit of having Oracle do those quarterly updates to features and functionality and the security updates and the speed that comes with that. But kind of the reason, one of the main reasons picking Oracle is, Larry talked yesterday about the whole ecosystem. Yeah. So for us,
there you go.
On an end-to-end view, maybe I can walk through an example.
Absolutely.
And again,
my constant theme.
I
was hoping Sommer was going to walk through an end-to-end example.
Yeah, there's your end-to-end,
pipeline
Brent.
technician on the East Coast.
end to end, man. Companies of this magnitude,
every day.
that's
And I can walk into
pretty much the direction they almost need to be going in.
I can start to just drag and drop those into my queue. And then I can initiate work with the click of a button. I can get parts ordered or reordered with that work. When I complete the work, I, again, click of a button after I've gone on my route. But what did that do? I took, number one, it's doing it a lot more efficiently than it was before. I took a lot of paper out of the process. So from handing out work orders to doing timesheets, this is automatically populating from those actual work clicks to go to OTL and put it into their timesheet. It's feeding the charges over to the projects themselves. So a lot more efficient, a lot less work, better cost for us, more efficiently.
Well, and that's a great example when we talk about.
So that's still focused heavily on the efficiency part of this.
Yeah, go through that example because that's, you know, a fairly normal everyday occurrence. But yet, if you had different systems, well, the work order comes from one system, you pass it to a field service, you get to the time card. It's just enormously complicated to hook these things together. And so, what have been the benefits so far? What does the business say? What do the users say? How does your view from executive management?
Just the integrations themselves have again, provided efficiency for us. And it's just exactly what you just said. You know, again, some of these are newer, but having them all in the same system, if you think we just had a major deployment with one of our utilities on July 1st, and the fact that we've gone now with, say, 5 companies before that, the first company had it the worst. You know, these are tough to begin with. But as we've done this over and over, now I've got one common system that everybody's using. I've got standardized processes that everybody are using. So the folks on those 5 companies were helping out now, that most recent one, when they did the cutover on here's what the process should look like. When they ran into issues, a lot of issues are just I wasn't trained on how to do it properly, or I didn't know the process. So it's been good for us.
And you talk about in the context of 6 different companies going, but just for the audience out there, we see this over and over again as you move to the cloud, move to Fusion. As soon as you establish that process with one line of business or one business unit or one geography, it just gets way easier because then everybody just plugs in and sees the benefits. So thank you for sharing that. That's great for everybody. Okay, topic of the day, clearly AI. Business leader in a large, expanding, frankly, AI-related company and industry. How are you approaching
Why
the
is
AI,
that frankly?
view?
So massive opportunity, of course, for us. If you don't,
I'm always mystified by the use of the English language.
Which is an eternity ago in AI, but that would have been.
Maybe he's talking about somebody named Frank.
Right, in charge of AI efforts at PhD.
Yeah, that's basically what I said 2 years ago.
Yep. If you go a year ago, we were probably at, we're using a lot of third-party applications, but I will say in the last 6 to 9 months, an absolute explosion at BHE in terms of use, whether it's, you know, using Microsoft Copilot or some of the other embedded applications that you have. So if I look at the HCM module, if I'm an applicant and I want to go to our website to look for jobs, there's going to be 100 jobs or more listed. I can upload my resume and the Oracle AI tool will say, here are the 10 jobs that most fit your skills and experience. Mm-hmm. If I'm in the supply chain management module and I'm doing a bit
what if you don't want one of those jobs?
The AI will say, here, you had these folks on the potential bidders list. Here are some more that you can add to that potential bidders list. Right. And then we also got involved with you on our last deployment in conjunction with Accenture and Oracle to build a tool that we could ask in natural language. Okay, again, training and business readiness is a big thing. So the users could go in and say, how do I fill out an expense report? How do I fill out a timesheet? How do I get the POET code that I need for these? Right. Which could be a big hang-up for them. So big use of AI.
Exactly. So Matt's just covered 2 of the 600 agents, talking about the recruiting and the agents.
Steve, enough with the agent side, the amount of agents, really.
Similar to what I asked earlier, how would you describe the partnership? How are we doing?
You got a lot.
Things we could be doing better. What do you see us going forward?
These questions, this particular question is really, what are you going to get from it?
Well, and I think one of the things that Steve emphasized in his talk with me that I think would be better to bring out at this point in time is how starting with a couple of these agents starts to, even if they're not like earth shaking, it starts the ball rolling in terms of iterating around your data and around your processes and getting ideas on how you can best apply these or customize them to your organization. And so if I were on stage right now, I'd want to be guiding the having conversations in that direction to say this is a starting point, and that's why it's important. And like you said, the volume of agents isn't core to that at all.
No, it's also the points made. You don't need, doesn't literally doesn't well, and that was kind of something what Bob's saying. I was thinking the same thing. The examples were the of how do I fill out a timesheet.
Right.
You don't.
But see,
I mean,
but
you
see,
don't even
that's
need a bot.
but see that but actually that's what Steve's trying to get at, is that you do need that because you need to start getting familiar with how these tools work so that you can iterate and
Right.
expand upon
Well,
them.
no, that's what you're getting at.
Yeah,
He
but that's
wasn't,
not right. Exactly.
Right.
100%. That point wasn't made, so then you don't understand why we're
Context
talking
is
about that.
completely wrong
Yeah.
because it comes
Yeah.
across like, so
Yep.
what? Why would I need AI for
Right.
that?
Exactly.
It
Yep.
literally is like a
100%.
1-minute
Yep.
learning process.
You got it. You got it.
Absolutely. Exciting times. Thanks again for your
You
time.
guys think, did y'all think at all about how some of the examples tell me that
Matt covered a little bit industry
AI may
issues,
not
but now
be
let's
that big of
really
an
dive
aid
into
in
industries
some
as well.
M&A
Welcome
kind
on
of
stage, my
transactions? I
colleague,
mean,
Simon
yes, because you're going to have all kinds of data cleanup issues that you've always had when you're trying to bring this stuff together. It might make an implementation go a little quicker, which I think Steve was trying to make that point. But I'm not sure
Good morning, good
it
afternoon, everyone.
takes it all the
I'm
way
Simon.
home.
I'm a member of
No.
our
By the way, Paul,
industry
this is your guy,
applications
Simon de Montfort.
We're going to talk a little
That's
bit about
him?
some really practical
He's
use
It
frightening.
didn't say his middle name.
Thank goodness.
and really how we're
If
moving
anyone
it
knows
forward.
history,
When Steve
it's a good reason
says
not to.
we have everything you need to run your business faster.
Not
more
his history,
resilient.
by the way.
We
I'm
really
talking about
do
like
need it.
actual
We also need
7th
it
century ago
in as
history.
much as it's built
You
for
know,
industries
but generally
from the ground
speaking,
up, right?
the
Architectures,
emphasis on
all the
600,
fine-tuning,
I
really
think is
neat
really,
decisions,
I think I agree with all, it's
fine-grained,
taking
sometimes
away
a
or
little esoteric use cases.
taking the shine off of
Works.
what really should be the important
Oracle
aspect of
23 AI
these
delivers
agencies.
context-aware search across
They're
unstructured
meant to
data.
be there
All
to
takes it
do
even further.
something for you
We
as
have
opposed
the
to
best infrastructure
emphasizing the
stack in
number
world
of
and a
them.
suite of
The
applications
conversation with the
totally
Milwaukee
unparalleled.
guy got the point
That's really the
across,
power of
right? I mean,
Oracle
not the
and
volume point, the
fundamentally
point of
the
how
application
outcomes have
advantage.
benefited greatly
We've
by
shown
the
you this slide a
end-to-end,
couple of times.
you know, and especially in
Look,
supply chain, which I think is
we are the
always
only
a
company in the
mission-critical
world that has
approach to
this
take
much depth.
and to discuss.
AI everywhere across
This
the
one
platform, from the
did not.
infrastructure level to the applications.
All right,
to take
guys, I'm going to
full
miss the
advantage
wrap
everything
of
that's
all
possible
wraps.
with AI.
I'll have to catch it
Oh,
on replay.
damn.
No one else
I'm needed
Well, we get-
has
downstairs.
anything that
All
matches all
right.
of this.
Well,
We'll
we
catch you later,
love you.
Brohammer.
Now we're going to be doing, if you're up, if you have time, we're
today.
going to be doing the
And really
CX one at
focused on how do
4:15
we make sure that
4:15.
going
with
forward,
Jeff Wortgow.
we're leaving them
Okay.
open for the
I
next
think we
stage
have
of
an
innovation
interview
as
then,
we
but
make
we'll
more
see.
complex
Anyhow,
Okay,
agents
if
catch
you're
you
free.
later.
more together
Catch you later, man.
and unleash the power of these models. It's one seamless connected platform. And remember, you know, if you're a SaaS
He sure
customer
needed a
of us,
light
just like
bulb
with
in that
you're already
dim
on the
hotel
infrastructure
room he was
platform.
in.
You're already consuming the database. So all of this comes to you fairly naturally. And so what we typically see, especially in the industry applications,
But you know what?
where
I don't want
dealing with very
to
fine-grained issues and
kind
very
of say that
specific
Oracle's the
client
only one that does that.
is that when we connect all this
They're
together,
not.
we get
A
to
lot
a
of
point
folks,
where
they
doing
try to
a single
overwhelm
insight from a very
with
singular piece of
the
data
numbers
can kick off
as
a really
opposed to
complex chain
really
of
how
automated,
all this
often
stuff,
really
all this AI stuff,
intelligent work
how we're
that
working
helps you work
to help
smarter, helps your
you
customers be more
achieve
satisfied,
whatever the hell it
and
is you need to
ultimately
achieve.
improves the
Right.
quality
I
of your
mean,
product.
we have talked in,
We're going to spend
all
some
of us
time
have
walking
talked
through
for
examples. The first one we're going
probably
to talk
2
about
decades or more
is really
about,
AI
guess
across
what?
a
It's all
portfolio of
about
multiple
outcomes,
applications,
right?
powered
And
by the
it
infrastructure we
still
talked
is.
about.
No matter how you cut it, it
In
still
an
is.
environment you probably all
And
know. We're
that
all
is where
used
the
over these
emphasis needs
customers.
to
We probably
be.
already
This one, I
all
mean,
get a
again,
utility bill.
it's up
So
and
let's talk
down.
about one
Term,
example,
first
multiple
customer interview
applications,
was about
and a
that. The
journey that
second
you're
one
probably
was
familiar with.
sort of about that, but it was
You
kind
moved
of
into a new
bland,
home a few months
really.
ago.
Did not
Using
make the
deep
point,
learning
really.
algorithms, your utility understands your energy usage patterns and proactively notifies you. There's a rate plan that will fit you better and can save you
So I
money
did
on your
a
energy bill.
John and I did a
website,
podcast
an
with
AI agent
an
helps you
HR
compare
analyst.
rates.
And she was
Indeed,
very
you
good
could
at
save
making the
money
point
each
that
month.
lots of companies will talk a really good AI game. What they see in practice, that what they're actually delivering is quite a bit less. And so I think, and anyway, her whole deal was the amount of experimentation that's going on is still significant, but you can't be fooled or lulled into thinking that the adoptions are going through the roof. So I'm not surprised that we find folks who are long on on aspirations of what they want to do with AI and a little short on what they're actually utilizing at the moment. They're still ramping up and skilling up, and you even heard that from the last speaker that folks are still trying to get comfortable with the technology and figure out what to do with it. So I don't think we should expect someone to go rebuild the pyramids of Giza in using AI in one night. It's not going to happen.
Well, and
it's going to take time to build.
To your point, whatever a company's making, it's making. The real issue from, I think, our standpoint is what Oracle is providing as presenting to make their point, as opposed to what the customer is saying to make his or her point, right? Because ultimately Oracle has a big point to prove. Larry's speech obviously proved it in spades yesterday, but that also sets the expectation level off the roof, like just sky high for what going forward, what's going to be expected of Oracle as well. And this, like, I guess this is Mike's successor. And even what he just showed was, very consumer focused, but it's useful. It was useful. And again, I don't know what AI did specifically for it, other than make something that we've already seen things do it better. To me, the question is, what happens? Who was it talking? Not real time, but runtime. We were talking about that yesterday, I think.
Yeah, I was yesterday.
Yeah,
coming from your meter helps
it's what AI can do. Runtime is really the power of it. Not real. That really hit me when they said, it really is runtime, not real time. Real time means really near real time anyway.
Will need to invest in grid infrastructure to support that growth. With the help of rich data sets,
to your point, Paul, I used to provide this little sales training thing for partners when I was at Accenture, and there was a checklist that you'd want to look at real quick before you went to go call on some company. And the first thing on there were, what are the top 3 business problems this company's facing today? And that's because of recognition that no one really has enough bandwidth to solve all the problems that they set their firm, their organization, what have you. They're usually going to be singularly focused on one of those 3 critical problems. And I think that's, to your point about what the focus ought to be, that's why I think you and I and others on this podcast, we're so focused on what is the problem you're trying to solve for the client first. And then we can get into, is the technology a fit for it or not?
Yeah. I mean, and that's been a historic, I'll call it requirement, really. I mean, many years ago, I remember I had a guy call me up and tell me about a client of his that called him and said, look, we just bought $4 million worth of PeopleSoft CRM software. What do we do with it? And that's an extreme, but that was not, that was maybe not at that level, but that thinking was frequent, and it still applies here. It's not, we have AI out there now, what do we do with it? It's what are we trying to solve as a company? How will AI help us in solving that, if it can? Right, and that never has changed. Otherwise,
so while the presenter here, while he's talking about their industries, I'll give really good nod to Oracle here. They have an incredible breadth of vertical market coverage. And what they were able to use from all of their acquisitions over the last 30 years or so in the application software space to round all that out, build it all under Fusion, and now, add all the AI capabilities to it is really quite impressive. We knew they would talk about health. This is the segue into some of the things Larry talked about yesterday. That this is, all powered by the Cerner stuff and the like. Pretty impressive.
Oh God, yeah. No, look, I'm not underestimating it at all. Even if I'm critical of some things, I am in awe of what Oracle is actually doing right now in the world. I'm in awe of it. I'm absolutely astounded, delighted, and at the same time, just mind blown at the level that, especially what Larry presented yesterday, but even here, the quality of the actual technology they do have. And at every level, but not just AI, and also their approach to AI, period, which I am on. They have, to me, singularly, the best single explicit approach to AI in terms of how they provide it of any company in our universe.
It's documenting for the dog.
So one of the things they could be doing from a marketing perspective, if they wanted to play this way, is if they could show the audience what they spend on R&D for their application products versus what competitors, application software competitors spend in their total R&D. Then it's not just that the numbers are dramatically different. Then you add to that what they spend in R&D on all the infrastructure items, what they've spent on OCI, and on hardware, and they've created a machine that can that's how it can create all these innovations in all these different verticals and serve in all these different global markets. That's what makes them really hard to dismiss in any kind of software evaluation.
I'll give you some examples of where we've seen the benefit.
I'll tell you one interesting thing too is when you see like what he's showing here, for example, it looks like he's doing something with bots, but because we're A, talking about health, and B, if you actually got any glance at the answers that the bot-looking things were providing, you can tell they're not bots, right? There's AI in action because bots are iffy, choppy, and usually wrong. These are detailed, long, and available. They're not searching for anything. They're immediately available, right? It's really, it was very significant difference in terms of, even though I'll call it physically, visually, it looked like a bot. But the level was just.
In the subcontractor example, we have 10,000 chats in 90 days. 70% of the users were able to self-service. We pulled those calls out of the call center, out of the support center, and ultimately saved an experience for that subcontractor. Financial crimes, same thing. 70% reduction in manual tasks, and far better results, right?
I wonder what SAS is doing about all that.
These are not kind of complicated agents. We're committed to removing.
Well, I just remember they were really big on identity theft and financial crimes and all this other stuff years and years and years ago. I haven't heard their name in years. I mean, I've heard their name, but not in any meaningful way.
Yeah, it's kind of fell off the grid.
Pretty completely off the grid.
A little bit. And talk about some really practical.
He's nothing like his grandfather. He's really likable. This guy.
Two leaders from longtime Oracle customers who embarked on major application transformations.
Entertainment is
that's really funny. Actually, they're doing this at the Venetian.
Exactly.
Has transformed the Las Vegas skyline and reimagined what a casino hotel can be, bringing together unforgettable spectacle with
it seems like
service.
Anytime there's a conference in Vegas, one of the customers or examples is a casino.
Yep. But the problem is all these videos are just the PR, the classic, crappy, boring pedestrian videos you see from when they're doing their own ads, like Mandalay Bay, or it's the same damn one.
Helzberg has curated high-quality, fine jewelry befitting life's most meaningful moments. Helzberg is consistently recognized for superior diamonds, ethical sourcing, expert craftsmanship and services, and
it's actually not a bad
jeweler
jeweler
that hasn't wavered since the first store opened in 1915. Today, Helzberg is using the power of AI to delight customers.
It opened a year into World War One.
Right. Yeah, I don't think the diamonds were ethically sourced that year.
Senior Vice President, Technology at MGM.
This is really funny.
Chief Information Officer of Helzberg Diamonds.
Thanks very much. Artish, thanks so much for joining us. I think we're really excited to hear a little bit about what you guys are working on today. So Art, let's start with you. Helzberg Charter since 1915 has been to sort of raise standards with an unwavering commitment to innovation and customer service. Where does tech show up kind of most powerfully in that mission? And how does it help you keep your promise to customers?
Yeah, well, first I'd like to say thank you so much for having Helzberg up here. I really appreciate the stage here. And I think I'm really excited that we're in good company because much of what we heard yesterday is what we're doing too, right? Technology as a
looks like a bear, maybe? A bear.
So,
yeah, I never seen that
has been known for customer service.
I thought it was going to be like a hanky, but
for customization, but not necessarily technology. And quite frankly, we wanted that way.
Did you notice each person on that stage brought notes out?
The associate experience.
Relationship well, he's got it.
All three of them have notes.
Stores, a digital space online, and really the space in between.
I didn't recall seeing that yesterday.
Technology, we're looking for ways that are going to reduce the friction, increase customer-facing time, right? Take a lot of those manual processes out of it. So it's my job to make sure that the associates have the tools, that the customers have the information that they need to be able to engage with us. And so over the last 2 years, we've been working with Oracle. We finally launched our ERP just 3 months ago, so we're excited about that. And as we look at where and why we chose Oracle, we needed to make sure that we were on a more modern platform, right? The agility to be able to respond to the market quickly, the speed to be able to put those in place quickly, to reduce the complexity for our associates. And so as the core of our...
Boy, that sounded like somebody polished up his remarks for him.
Exactly.
And then the last thing I would
That's
say
why
is
those notes are there.
I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the Dana Levitons of the world.
What was our quote of the day at the top of the call? What was it we were looking for?
Everything that
that was great question.
No. What was Brian's phrase?
Something innovation, crescendo of innovation.
Crescendo of innovation.
Yeah, we got to get the crescendo of innovation in here. We're too far along in the talk not to have heard that yet.
We should be in the wind-up.
Connection with your visitors and your audience.
Yeah.
We can see if anybody on the comment side wants to talk about the crescendo of innovation.
At Technology, our goal is to connect the guests with those and remove friction points across their journey. Over the last few years, we've focused
a lot of
on
friction in these two
digital
companies.
ecosystem and strengthening our core systems with 3 principles of secure, standardized, and supported. We have personalized the guest
He's using every. No,
recommendations from the very
I don't want to get too snarky, but
an AI-powered chat
I kind of do, but I won't.
Video as well that allows the guest to naturally converse like you and I are talking.
Where's Frank Scavo and his buzzword bingo card right now?
Seconds. We have expanded the ways that the guest can check in, including generating digital.
To be honest, though, I don't think anything will ever top the customer group of yesterday.
Phone is your key.
That's a really high standard. Every single one of them was
investment in our in-room technology.
the right person,
made it easier for our
the
guests
right company. Every last one. I've never seen a group of customers consistently across every one that provided real value.
Completed complex projects like consolidation of our reservation systems,
and still retain the fact that they were actually human beings.
Cosmopolitan and for Marriott guests. Overall, the goal of technology is to remove the friction so our teams can take care of the guests.
That's amazing. You know, both of you are in businesses that I think as a consumer, we sort of, it all happens quite simply and it looks really natural, but they're incredibly complicated. And so for both of you, you know, success, and we talked about this before, right, is really about delivering for customers. Can you sort of share a moment when you saw like a very direct impact of some of the changes you've made in terms of, you know, your guests or your shoppers, where it really impacted their experience? So maybe let's start with you.
Yeah. One of my favorite examples is Opera Cloud, where we migrated from an on-prem system to the cloud. This really captures the essence of what we've been doing for the last few years, modernizing core systems and focus on
What does that have
guest
to
and
do with
employee
Opera
experience.
Cloud?
For guests, the
Did he say Opera
is
Cloud?
immediate. Check-in times reduced by more than 50%
It
at
sounded kind
Miranda's
of like
and
that. I
our
don't.
kiosks.
He
So
must have said
that means
meant something
check-in
else. I
was
know the
less wait time and more
this,
smoother.
what do you call it? The
Checkouts became easier with near real-time folio updates and auto
subtitle came
checkout
across
applied.
as Opera Cloud.
For employees, this was a game changer. The Opera Cloud UI is
He is
modern,
saying Opera
easy
Cloud.
to navigate, similar
What
to
in the
how we
world
use
is
in our
that?
personal life apps. This meant employees could focus more on the guests and make that strong connection with them at the arrival.
Opera Cloud.
It was a very complex project for us, involving multiple teams and hundreds of employees
Oh,
across
it's a thing.
technology, business operations, and property teams. We collaborated very closely with Oracle's engineering,
Opera
product,
Cloud property
and
management.
implementation teams.
Okay.
Huge shout out to Chetan and Tanya and their teams for working with us. Park MGM went live with zero disruption to the guests. It was a very proud moment for us because it showed the investment in modernization and improving foundations can have tremendous impact on guest and employee experience.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And it was I remember it was a complex rollout as well. Art?
Well, I'm hoping that very soon, after our 3-month ago implementation of Oracle's ERP, we'll have some additional examples to be able to give. I'm confident with all the advancements we're making, we will. And so I'll back it up. We've been on a 4-year journey on our digital transformation. And about 3 years ago, we had implemented our CRM. And as I said before, a lot of what we're doing is to try to get speed to market, right? That agility to be able to respond quickly. And so as we looked at what was ailing our associates, right, that to try to give them more customer-facing time, 2 of the things that came up were the challenge that they had with our current clienteling application and the very manual process of getting product that wasn't in their stores. And so having just implemented our CRM, we were able to find a partner that was able to bolt onto our CRM and be able to get that done in a 6-month time frame to get to pilot and then a couple months more for GA. And so, you know, that's the kind of thing that couldn't happen before. And so as we can have the core systems to be able to help us to do that, it helps to make sure that those associates are able to have that meaningful relationship with their customers, to get more access to the things that will matter to the customer, to help that relationship grow even deeper, to help them celebrate life's meaningful moments. And so the exact same application allowed us to look at the endless aisle option as well. So now our associates have access when they're clienteling with that application for all the inventory that's in our stores, distribution center, our drop ship. And more importantly, we give them the what's in it for them, because we're able to connect that to allow them to have a lower pressure sales process because they can share that basket with a customer. And so we're trying to meet the customer where they want to shop. We don't want to have a high pressure must buy it now because it's in our cases. We want you to know that we're developing that relationship with you. And so if that means that you need some time to think about it, we'll make sure that you have that basket so that the product that you're looking at with that associate is right there. So when it makes or when it's time for you to make that decision, you're able to. And then the associate who helps you gets the credit and they're able to clientele you later on. So as omni-channel continues to be that ever-moving, ever-evolving target that we're after, making sure that we have the right data
target that went dead 20 years ago.
and making sure that we have the right systems that can allow us that speed to
Omni-channel.
market when we don't know what's going to happen in 6 months' time. We don't know what's going to happen in 12 months' time, but having a really solid foundation is critical for us to be able to advance quickly.
So I suspect there's plenty of couples where there's lots of pressure to buy diamonds, so you guys don't need to add to it. What role is AI playing kind of for both of you in terms of supporting the strategy and helping in the back office and in your businesses?
Yeah, like we've said before, technology and AI are enhancing the most valuable part of Helzberg, which is our people.
It's like this guy is
and so as we look at the back
getting a lot more talking
we've been
time than
working
the
with
other guy.
Oracle on AI before AI was cool. We've been working on models to help refine.
I was expecting him to tell us we're going to use AI to develop
inventory
an
of
app
jewelry
for
is
the
quite
site
expensive. We have
called
limited case space. We
The
have to make
Right
sure
Way
that
to
we have the right
Propose
product
to
in
Your
the right
Significant
place,
Other.
the right time,
And
the right
you could
price.
just have this
So,
interactive
we've been working on
conversation with
modeling
an
for
AI
a while,
bot that would
but I think when people talk AI,
come up
we
with that
really start to
great,
think about ChatGPT put it
situation
on
where
the
you're going
radar
to
just a
pop
couple
the
of years ago.
question. But
And so
maybe I'm just thinking
everybody,
too
every
far out in the
technology
future.
leader has then been
No, that'd
asked,
be interesting.
how
Or
are we
thinking too far
implementing
back in the past.
AI by boards and
In
executive
the past.
teams? Fortunately for us, we're a Berkshire
They say,
Hathaway
and then
subsidiary,
you
and we've got a
they
really
talk you
good
into
studio with Brad Hampton,
a
and he
Vegas
allows us to
wedding at
remain
MGM,
focused on
and you
enhancing
could
that
book an
experience
Elvis.
to reduce
I
friction
don't
and
know.
add value where
We
it's
actually talked
necessary,
about
whether it's
things like that
AI
when
or
I was doing
otherwise.
work with
And
David,
so we are very
advisor to
intentional
David's
about when we're
bridal.
using AI.
Literally
Help
things that
that
we're talking about,
experience for
like
the customer and
your
reduce friction on the
honeymoons
back
and
end.
all these
So
things,
we think, the things that took a
proposals.
lot longer to do, photography, to be
They
able
they
to show you
bought
the
the
scale of
veil
what product looks
as a
like
result.
and enhance that experience as you then
Oh, we
know
just
what
had
you're
our
buying
42nd
online.
anniversary.
The product
So
Wow!
descriptions,
Congratulations.
Congratulations, sir.
content is a lot faster, and then you have a
When
human
is your
who can look at
anniversary?
that and make sure that it's there. And then even just
uh,
giving that to our
I'll answer it the way
sales
my
team to
dad
be able to
used to
make it more
answer that
concise on our
question when
customer.
we asked him,
But
like,
really, we have
you
an AI
remember your
council that
anniversary?
has
Yeah, it was the
team
first
leads from all the
hot
different
day in
departments
August,
to
and it
help us
was,
to prioritize where those efforts are and
what
keep
kind
us
of
stay
an
laser
answer is
focused and
that?
The
intentional.
first
And at the end of the day,
Hot
we
day
look
in
to
August.
shape our customer
Yeah, that was
experience
his. No, mine's
by AI
the
and
tail end
allow
of September.
AI to
Mine
shape
is
our
too. That's why I
experience.
was asking, actually. We were the 25th,
AI is amazing
25th of
technology. I feel
September.
like we are just in step one, and there's so much more to come over the next few years. At MGM, we're taking a very
It feels slightly
deliberative
like
approach and thoughtful
this
approach to AI,
particular
focusing
conversation
on deeper
kind of lost some
understanding of the
steam.
guest and empowering our marketing teams and
Well,
operations
it's
teams
kind
Yes.
of
to
standard.
work smarter and
It's like
better
a
serve our
standard
guests.
conversation.
Our goals with
Well, I'd
AI is
give
to
bonus
make
points to
sure our
Simon if he has
teams
the guts to
are able
ask,
to
can
find the
we
right
at
information
Oracle help
quickly,
you
complete
help you and
multi-step,
other hotels in Vegas
multi-system
create
tasks with a
a
single
better
prompt,
way for people to
digitize the
check in?
process,
So
and reduce paper, and
Yeah,
proactively
I don't think that
find
question is
issues
coming up.
before they
No.
reach the guests. We are taking 3
but tell me that isn't a
implementations
big
as
business
part of our
problem.
AI program.
Oh God.
One, deepen our AI usage across our partner systems, including
CX
Oracle.
problem.
All of the innovations that you guys showed today was
I think
wow,
they're
and
coming
we
close
want to
to the
continue
end.
using
Do
them
you
in our
feel like
finance, supply chain,
this
hospitality. We
session
use AI
checked
today with price
all
management,
the
offer
checks
generation, and number of other
in what
core
you were
business
expecting to hear at
processes.
this particular
No.
keynote?
We want
No,
to
I mean,
continue
to
expanding our
Brian's
chat
original point,
platform and
the
intelligent
radical
agents for our
reinvention stuff,
employees,
I didn't hear any of that.
build
But
a framework similar to
I
Correct.
mean,
AI Studio
it
to
did
allow
make some.
anyone
I
to
mean, look,
rapidly
the most important thing
develop
from my
and
standpoint, the
deploy
thing
an
I
agent into
found that
production.
Steve did that was
3,
most
we want to
significant
make
was
sure
not talk about the
our
AI part first,
intelligent platforms
and actually
continue
go
to
to
grow
the
and
core
empower
value of
our
apps,
teams
right? Which is
to
how
better
they
serve our
help
guests.
in what they do from
Overall,
an
our vision for
operational
AI
standpoint,
is
particularly. And I thought that was really
enable our
important
teams
that
to
somebody in
serve
this
our
conference
guests
did
to
that, and
create the
especially
memorable
the apps,
experiences and amplify the
Oracle
human
apps. And
capabilities
so
with
I thought that
heart.
was really very
Awesome.
good.
Art, Ish, thank you both so much for
From the
joining us and
standpoint of the
sharing some stories.
conversations,
We really do
the
appreciate it.
very
Thank you so
first
much.
one
Thank you.
from Milwaukee, I
All
thought
right.
was significantly the
So let's
best.
continue a little bit on retail, and I think sort of try to bring this home, right? You've heard from Mike, Clay, Larry, all of the other members of our team about all of these investments, all of these features, and all of the benefits that we see from having a stack that includes the infrastructure, the applications, and by having them be sort of really seamlessly working together and designed to do that from the start. Let's use a retail example to really think about what this means. So certainly,
retail is a different industry today than it was even 7 or 8 years ago, right? Supply chains are longer, distribution's much more complex, and customers are far more demanding. Oracle has an incredibly large suite of tools across Oracle. It's about 50 embedded AI agents around this kind of move, sell, buy, plan, lifecycle. And they really work alongside and atop all of our applications. So I want you to imagine for a moment, right? You've just signed up for a marathon, your first marathon. Shoes are going to make the difference. You run by to see if you can get a pair of your favorite running shoes, and they're out of stock. I will say, I think there's a lot more than shoes between me and my first marathon, but we're going to suspend our disbelief here a little bit. And so the power of what we've done, right, is we've got a database that enables us to work through incredibly complex sort of specific issues across lots of different data sets, whether they're structured, whether they're unstructured, whether they're in different pools. And frankly, most of these problems always come back to the data, right? It's why the data platform, why the Oracle database is such a powerful combination. And really, at the heart of this isn't just about inventory, right? It's about a global supply chain that's got longer, forecast demanding, planning buys, and really moving goods worldwide, which is getting harder and harder. So it's complicated. It's even worse if you've got multiple applications that are all siloed. And what we see with our customers certainly is when we bring those together, one platform that's able to connect together, we get a much different result.
Replenishment decisions may look simple, moving products from one location to another, but behind the scenes, the intelligence is incredibly complex. Oracle AI brings together data from across our suite: CRM for customer insights, RMS and Fusion Inventory for stock positions, Oracle Analytics Cloud for forecasts, Xstore for sales, procurement and order management, and many other systems on a single connected cloud. All of it flows into one decision. Have you seen the result? Joggers selling faster than expected in Shreveport, automatically flagged for action. On the right, AI turns complex calculations from across the enterprise into a clear, transparent recommendation. The result is clarity and speed. Thousands of data points across dozens of systems distilled into one simple action a planner can take with confidence.
So one platform, agents working across lots of different data sets, lots of different applications, and it's really only possible if you've got this complete stack, right? Cost-effective, fast infrastructure for training and reasoning, a data platform that can orchestrate all of this work, a database that can work alongside all of your data wherever it might be, and the most complete kind of set of applications and embedded agents across industries and across the horizontals, supported by a team that has an immense amount of experience across all these industries. And of course, we shouldn't forget, right? We deliver it with security, with privacy and sovereignty. So this isn't just powering retail. It's not just powering healthcare. It's financial services. It's public safety. It's energy. It's really everywhere. Connected data gets to better outcomes. We mean it when we say we've got everything you need to run faster,
connected data gets to better
smarter,
outcomes.
and with more resilience.
That's actually a good one.
Let's welcome Steve back to bring us home. Thanks very much.
All right. We're going home.
That's tomorrow.
Great job.
So hopefully you've got a sense of why we're so excited with everything you need, the innovation that matters. And really, this is a chance for me to say thank you and our commitment to our success. And it's thank you to a couple different constituents. First of all, our global partner network. So none of this would be possible without our partners, our implementation partners, partners who help us with development, who give us feedback. And for you, the customer, be assured that there's a community out there that's experts, not only in Fusion applications, our industries, as well as AI. So just an incredible thank you to our partners. Also a thank you to our customers. So I've talked about how the hundreds of features, 80% of those features come from customer feedback. So your input in Customer Connect on ideas is used and uses us to drive our products and really bring it home. And then the final slide, just a reminder, I know we're Wednesday about midday. There's still a couple of great solution keynotes in HCM and CX. And of course, you have all the demos, both for what you've seen in the agents, as well as the horizontal apps and the industry apps in one area in the World Hub. And then the final thank you For years, I've done this, and it's a shame that it's the first time I said thank you, but all of my content, all of my slides, all the demos, Casey Mercé and her team, Natalia, Martin with the demos, and Deb, really make this easier, and hopefully it's very informative to all of you. So big thank you to the team. Really appreciate it. Everyone enjoy the conference, and we'll see you tonight.
All right. So we can drop this. All right. So initial thoughts and impressions.
Cowboy first.
So I think viewers have to put something in perspective here. I think it's a little tough for Oracle to find customers to bring out on the stage who are doing really radical transformation stuff because the tech is new. That's the first problem. People haven't had really time to bake it in, but I was writing down a list of all the challenges that customers have to get to this point, and it's far from complete. So they've got garbage in, garbage out worries because of the mess of stuff they've got in their old systems. They have a lot of systems diversity, which creates different definitions and meanings for elements. And even though you can technically mitigate some of that, the problem still remains because of the diversity. They have unfinished merger and acquisition activity where that you end up with all kinds of piecemeal systems and patchwork spreadsheets and other kind of things out there. They have their own people are not necessarily ready for the AI age. People, they haven't had any training. They don't know what the right controls and so forth are going to be that they need to have. So, there's a human capital aspect to this that got no discussion today. And, they've got limited amount of time. They can't cover everything. But I do think there is I think the capper speaker could have been one that really talked about what they did to get the organization to a state of AI readiness that allowed them to really push this thing forward. And if they'd done all that, then we would have had a crescendo of innovation. Paul, your comment.
Yeah, well, I mean, aside from the fact that I agree with you literally 100% on that. And it's sort of, and not in a heavy way, but in a mild way. It sort of doesn't emphasize what almost the entire rest of the conference was, which was the human element, right? Which is the fact that these are augmenting human activity. They didn't really emphasize that in any way. That probably should have been more of that. On the positive side is what I said a little earlier, which is I thought Steve's de-emphasis of AI to set the stage for the operational side of the applications was really important. And it's important because you have to remember fundamentals in all of this, regardless of all the stuff that's going on out there around AI and so on. Where I think it could have been better was when and this goes to, again, me emphasizing ecosystem of ecosystems, and because tied to an ecosystem of ecosystems is a platform, and this emphasized the apps as apps, and then the customers didn't, and they were kind of talking across the board, but the presentations kind of did. It didn't really talk about the end-to-end per se. It talked about we have this, and this. But the customers luckily kind of tied it together a little bit, even though I thought the strongest one was the very first customer, as I said, from Milwaukee Tools. The other ones were okay, but nothing to write home about, so to speak. The other thing I did like, and I was glad to see, if I'm looking at an emphasis on an application, was there was a very strong emphasis, not more organic than maybe deliberate, on supply chain. And I always think that is way more important than the effort that's made to present it. And I was pleased for that. I think, but apps, at Oracle is a layer in the platform. It's not just a series of solutions. So, Well, to your head nod there, Brian. More, when I say that, I mean it more like it operates within the platform. You're meaning across the platform. So so that didn't quite come across the way it should have. So I think there was some good and there was not so good. And that to me was, I'm sorry about the points it missed, and I'm glad about the points it made, I guess is the best way to say it. I'm also, of course, extremely disappointed that Steve won't appear on our show.
And who knows if he'll want to do that after watching this. All right. So I hate to repeat what y'all said, but I do see some positives and some, I think, missed opportunities. And like Brian was saying, I mean, there's just so much that any of these companies are going to say they've done when it comes to really putting AI to its fullest, while using any of these applications, because a lot of this stuff is just being announced. There's a potential there, and I think trying to talk about how do you go from kind of where they are now to where they want to go, because they're just not there yet, and nobody could fault them for that, because there's just stuff is just getting in their hands and starting to be understandable and starting to actually be used. So I think there is just it's hard to tell this story right now because it's mid-story, and that goes with every vendor and their customers that are working together. But I do like when when Steve was going through the demo of kind of using the studio, and he did have that one step where you drop in the kind of the human interaction component of that. And I think that at least allows folks to understand, there are things that, the AI is going to do, and you're going to help them do it. And in order for the AI to work as well as it can, you do have a role in it. And that goes back to Juan the Wise's kind of comments in the opening Q&A this morning. I like the emphasis on that. And then even going back to our call when we were talking with Rob Pinkerton, there is an effort and there is an intended approach to saying we have all the AI you're going to need, and we're still working on it. So it's if it's not there now, it's going to be there, and you're going to help us get there. But it really there seems to be a concerted effort, and I think it's great that AI is being kind of put in the position of actually being a helper, not a replacer, at least, as a general statement, and being able to do things that we're not good at, and they still need us. The AI and the technology still need us for certain things. I think that's the best thing that kind of came across in all this. But once again, it's kind of hard to fully illustrate this when the stuff is just really starting to get a general knowledge of what it is and potentially how it can be used. Most of the time, it's always going to be focused on initial stages of operational effectiveness and cost saving, which, it's understandable because most technologies kind of enter the enterprise with that in mind. But I am really looking forward to when we start looking at how we can do things we couldn't have done or even dreamed of with this stuff, as opposed to figuring out how much money we could save or how much efficiency we could do. Important stuff. I'm not trying to dismiss it, but I really want to get to the point where companies are looking at this as a crescendo of innovation versus, dwelling on the operational. That's how I'll end this right there.
Well, I guess one last thing. Look, Oracle, we can't forget that Oracle itself, they've skyrocketed to this. Look, they've always been a huge player, but they have skyrocketed well beyond where they were in a year, right? And it's not that easy to piece together this entire thing. So you have one gigantic cohesive whole working in concert throughout a conference of this scale, scope, and magnitude, with not a whole lot of time really to even understand what your own role in the world is now, right? And it's clearly different. So, I mean, I'm giving that too. So each piece is fine. You know, it's just, you know, because we're analysts, we're always looking for the cohesive, you know, biggest picture. But again, like you both emphasized, this is all a process, you know, and they're not there yet. But they'll figure it out.
I think going back to something you said yesterday, nobody's there yet, but Oracle seems to be much further on the way.
Yes,
and not just in little aspects, but like a comprehensive, foundational way.
Yeah.
And I understand the 600, the emphasis on 600. I think from when he said last year they're going to have 100 and 5, and now it's 600. I understand it, but it's also like you said, they've done a lot in a year, and I guess that's a metric that you can use that he uses. But you got to dig into the overall. How did they get that 600, and how does their partners get that 100, and how do their customers do whatever the hell they do with it? That's, I think, the real interesting story. Beyond
when it boils down to it, you say 600 once, you're okay. That's enough. We get it.
All right. Any final thoughts before we shut her down? Come back for one last go around with our buddy Jeff Wartgal. He's going to be doing demos of
Spar.
Yeah, that stinks. All right. Well, on behalf of the Cowboy, I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
And I guess on behalf of the Brohammer, who had to step out earlier,
right.
We are the CRM Playaz, and we shall be back one final time for one final watch party before we get completely played out. So we'll see you then.
Play is played.